Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book 91. I am here back again with the US Task Force. Yes, the US Task Force. Yeah, they're here to give you guys border control when it comes to Married at First Sight. And again, this episode was one of those episodes where I think it was quite interesting. I think it was interesting not to have Paige and Chris involved in any of it this time round, and actually it gave us a bit of a better perspective on some of the other couples, i.e. Bree and Vincent. There were some interesting events there. Eric and Virginia was also very, very interesting as well, and we obviously saw the demise of Haley and Jacob even further. He can't bat a ball, and he turns up in shoes everywhere, and Haley just pretends as if she's trying. Hey ho. We also have Ryan and also Clara again. Somehow, some way, they've avoided talking about sex once more, and it seems to be a running theme. I think there is an issue there, but they don't want to discuss what it is. So there's a lot to discuss today in this episode, but I am joined, as I said, by my US Task Force. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. I'll go from my right-hand side. Well, it's actually my left-hand side. Jack and Glenn, if you can introduce yourself, let them know who you are and where you're from and where they can find you as well today.
All right. I'm Jackie.
I'm her husband, Glenn.
He is my husband, Glenn.
Hey, you can always find us at JacandGlen on YouTube, JacandGlen, Jack_Glen on Instagram, Jack_Glen also on Twitter. Man, we're just happy to be here. I look forward to this each and every week. I've driven 5 hours today just to get back so we can get this thing done. So, hey, let's rock.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate that. Thank you, man. Dedication, we love it. August love, go for it.
Hi, we are Artika.
I'm Tommy.
And we're all over the internet at August Love Story.
Mm-hmm. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Stephanie, go for it.
Hi guys, my name is Stephanie Lee. You can find me on YouTube at Successfully Me. And you can find me on Instagram at I Am Successfully Me and on my website at IamSuccessfullyMe.com.
Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. Okay, and also we have one last character. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Talisa. Go for it.
You know, I love when he sings. You know, I love when he sings. Y'all know I love, that's one of the things I have checked off for my future husband if I decide I want to get married again, is that he should be able to sing to me, okay? But I am Talisa Ray, and you can find me everywhere as Talisa Ray on YouTube, and I am Talisa Ray everywhere else. Just hit an I am in the front, and boom, there I am.
Beautiful. Love that. Thank you very much, Talisa. I appreciate you. So, guys, let's get straight into the conversation. No Chris and no Paige. So, let's jump straight for our residential other black couple, Bree and Vincent. I think those were really good conversations that were going to be had. There were two main points, but we can also discuss other things if it comes to your mind. Very first thing, obviously, we saw them discussing, I guess, when she was dancing, talking about her dreams, etc., etc. But it came back round to them having kids once more, and I guess I want to get you guys' views on that particular interaction, about their conversation around it. Oh, my phone just dropped there, and anything around that particular conversation that they actually had. So let me go first with Talisa, because she was the last one to speak. What was your thoughts on the Bree and Vincent conversations that they were having on their particular part of the episodes?
Okay, well, I get to go first. I don't always be prepared to go first, but listen. This time, I'm actually feeling like they may really be unequally yoked. Like, this may not be a successful marriage if they don't do a lot of work. And the reason I feel like that is specifically about the children, the different views. Like, she wants to wait. He's ready now. And I just feel like, not that they couldn't make it, but I feel like they're in different stages of their life, right? Brianna still wants to have fun and be adventurous with her husband before, she settles down and has children and build, that type of familiar relationship, right? That family unit where Vince is like, we're going to come off of here. We're going to have babies. You're going to be at home. We're going to sit and talk and chat, and that's going to be what it is. We're not going to do too many fun things. We're not going to really go out that much, but we're going to be together and we're going to love each other here in the house. And so for me, I feel like they are in two entirely different places. And one of the things that made me feel like that is when after the conversation with the dancing, right? And she said, he complimented her like, you know, I think she's going to be a great wife. And then, you know, she's, you know, said we're going to uplift them talent and say how beautiful they are, et cetera, et cetera. And then he said, you know, you're going to make a good mom. I don't know what it was, something like that. But then she says, it's a long time from now. He literally looked like he was going to break down and cry. Like, it felt to me like it was like he got stabbed in the heart, like a long time from now. And so a long time to somebody who wants children is 2 years, is 3 years. And that's something that they actually have to really talk about outside of her issue, maybe having children. And then, which makes me think about when they had the conversation with Dr. Pepper, and she asked, are you willing to adopt children? He literally wanted to say, hell no, I don't want to adopt any children. He literally wanted to be like, nope, they need to come from my loins in order for my legacy to continue. And so I really feel like that's going to be an issue in their marriage. Not that they can't work out, I mean, but it's going to take a whole lot of work for them to just get on the same page, because you see, she still controls the relationship, right? She still is like, I'm not compromising. No, you can't sleep. Personally, sleep is important to me, but I am, right, a single woman. I don't wake me up from my sleep if I'm taking a little nap. I'm going to want to fight you, and it's just that simple. Don't wake me up in the morning. I'm going to want to fight you. It's just that simple. So I think that they're both going to need to learn how to compromise. So maybe you don't want to adopt children, but maybe you can have a surrogate. Maybe you need to talk about, okay, you're saying 3 years, but how about 1.5 years? Like, I don't know. They're going to have to figure it out. They're going to need to first step back, specifically Vince, and realize, listen, I just met her 6 weeks ago. And so I really need to learn my wife a little bit more before I start talking about all these kids and what I don't really know enough about her. So I need to spend some time with her and get to know her. Yeah, because I got something to say about like Clara and Ryan, or is it? No, it's Virginia and Eric, but I'm gonna wait because it just brings me to that thought process. Like, hold on a minute. You don't know these people. So, you know, get to know each other. See if you even like them after like 6 months. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? I barely know your middle name and your favorite color. Like, so yeah, that's my synopsis.
Love that. Thank you very much, Talisa Ray. Stephanie, talk to us, man. What was your kind of thoughts there as well on that?
So I completely agree with Talisa in regard to they don't know each other for real. Like, I'm thinking like, adding a child to a marriage is a lot. It's a lot. Mm-hmm. It's a lot when you do know each other for real. So they, you know, this fantasy of this is what I need in a year or 2 years, you don't even really know what you're asking for. So they need to solidify a foundation that can sustain the stress, because it's a beautiful thing, but it's also a lot of stuff that's not so beautiful. And it also creates a different version of you. I need to love you enough to get through that. So that's one. He's rushing it. I would love to see an actual mediation with them regarding the topic of having a child. Because I saw so many people be like really callous about it. Like, oh, just meet with the doctor. Okay, she has high blood pressure. It can be managed. The last week was Black Maternal Health Week because of the disparities of Black women dying in childbirth significantly higher than their counterparts. So this is something that is like, it needs to be discussed. It's not that she's just scared because she has high blood pressure. First of all, do you know all of her background? You don't. She's telling you she has high blood pressure, but for someone so young, that is a little concerning. Because it seems to be aggressive, just kind of like what she's not saying is what I'm hearing. That can be fatal. Maybe it won't be able to be managed. A lot of women have perfectly good pregnancies with no issues with high blood pressure. And then 5 days after, there's a headache or there's a postpartum preeclampsia, which occurred to me like a week later. And I could have been hospitalized. My sister's a nurse, which is why I wasn't. If I didn't have a nurse sister, I would have been. Those things kill. So I feel like if she was sitting with maybe like a Black female doctor or therapist or someone who would look at it from her perspective, then we would really get to the meat and potatoes. And then that could give them pause to say, let's get to know each other while we just do our research, while we think about it. Because we both know we want kids. She says, I want the experience of carrying a baby. So we both know she wants children. You want a child. It shouldn't happen right now. Let's wait. Let's create a foundation, and then let's go from there. So it's like they're throwing it out there, but it's not really like a deep enough conversation for me, and we're missing it. It's like, she has high blood pressure. Okay, she's not budging. He wants the baby right now, and he's really pissed that she doesn't want it right now. When there's like a whole other thing happening that they're like missing to me. So that really needs to that conversation needs to go beyond the surface. And then I think they'd have a better idea of where they really are.
Good points. Appreciate that, Steph. Good points. August Love, what's your thoughts, man? Baby, no baby.
I'll start off by saying, when Dr. Pepper did mention about them possibly adopting, like Vincent's response was the exact same response that Tommy had when we discussed this, when we first started talking about having kids. We didn't necessarily know if my eggs worked, if his sperm worked, because it wasn't a conversation of anything before that with medical professionals, because you're not trying to have kids, so why should you be thinking about having kids if that's not something that you're actively trying to do? So the conversation of would you consider adoption, I feel like that's something that definitely has to be discussed at the beginning, because everybody doesn't know what all will work. Like, I've had friends, as Stephanie was saying, last week was Black Maternal Health Week. I've had friends who have almost died giving birth to their children. I've had, using myself as an example, I'm a person who, my baby came so fast, we almost didn't make it to the hospital. So you have different ends of the spectrum of, you know, we're going through all these motions, and then they're like, the last thing we need to do is give you a C-section or whatever it may be to save everybody's life, and you just don't know how that's going to work. I definitely was one of the people that was suggesting, hey, before you go into this child conversation, you need to talk to a healthcare professional, because it's not just a let's get over it and figure out, like, why don't you want to have kids? We need to make sure that this is medically feasible for you to have kids before we rule kids in or out of the conversation. I know that a lot of men don't necessarily want to adopt kids because they want one of their own. And we're more so of the mindset as women, like, hey, you know, I can love a baby that's not mine because it will become mine through adoption. So when you have those different sides of it, you do have to think about it and take it delicately and discuss all aspects. But one thing that I think all of us can agree on is 6 weeks is way too soon to be talking about having a kid with a person that you do not know. At 6 weeks into us, well, technically dating each other, I can't say knowing each other because we knew each other well before that, we weren't thinking about having kids. Like, that was never a discussion that was on the table for us, because you have to see where this is going to go. But with the child conversation, I definitely think that Vincent is going to have to reel it back in, because 6 weeks, we don't know each other. I don't know if I want to stay with you after decision day. Like, this could be a deal breaker all the way around. So it's definitely a matter of, we have to figure that part out before we move into any other phases of adoption or surrogacy or even having kids. Like, we need to have a solid foundation of a relationship before we can progress beyond any of that.
Yeah, she took a lot of my talking points.
I'm sorry.
But I agree with her, with everybody, really, man. I think it's too soon to be having this conversation. Like they are. Like, it's like like, this is it. Like, we gotta have kids within the next year. Like, I'm like, focus more so on having a marriage, having a relationship, being friends, you know, and then get to the point of having children and expanding your family. Because you got to realize, just from understanding I don't know what they call it, but the Black women die more than white women when they're having birth. So you have to, like, basically she has a fear of that, right? So now you have to convince this woman that you love her enough that you're going to take care of her and allow her to risk her life, basically, and having a baby for you. You know what I'm saying? So you have to convince her of that she has to trust you enough to want to do that. That's the first thing. The second thing is, it's like you kind of wonder like where your line of thinking in the fact of, if you can't have a child and your wife can't have a child, like, what are you gonna do? Nobody wants to adopt. Well, from my standpoint, as a man, I don't want to adopt a child if I can have my own. I would just rather have my own because they look like me, they act like me, they have my blood. It means something to me. But if I had to, I would want to adopt a child because I believe that you should, you become a family, you should expand. You know what I'm saying? But like 6 weeks in, way too early. I think they still need to build trust in each other to make sure that they have each other's back in that situation. And her fears are real fears, and he should treat them as such. Trying to rush her to like feel bad for not wanting to have a baby within a year, I think that's wrong of Vincent, and he kind of needs to kind of like come back on it a little bit. So, but yeah, that's my take on them. I think the colorism part was more important to talk about than them having a baby, because that's real as well. So
Okay. Ooh, okay, we'll touch on that as well, because I know that set Thursday night we talked about it, and that set some people off. So it's about to get tight in here. We'll come back to you and we'll discuss that part as well. So we'll ask panelists as well for that thoughts as well. Jack and Glenn, what's your thoughts around the baby issue with Bree and Vincent as well? I think everyone's made some really great points. Go for it.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll just off the top say I agree with everyone. It is a little early to be having that conversation. I will say that I guess Tommy kind of touched on this. Most people, when you get into a relationship, when you get into marriage, when you think about having kids, your first thought is having kids of your own. You don't off the top think something's not going to work. Most of us err to the side that I'm going to be able to have kids. It's when you have an issue, really, that you begin thinking about adoption, surrogacy, infertility stuff. That's most of the time when people start thinking about that stuff. So Vince's reaction, it wasn't abnormal to me. It was like, oh, no, I want bone in my bone, flesh in my flesh. And, if that doesn't work out, then I'll think about the other stuff. You do put it in your mind at first, but I think people really get focused on that when there is an issue. As far as Brianna and her fear of getting pregnant, okay, so I'm gonna speak from my perspective. So with my son, I had pregnancy-induced hypertension, and after him, I continued to have issues with. I had to be on blood pressure medicine. When I had my third child, they were concerned about that. And at the end of my pregnancy, I started retaining fluid. They were just to give you some signs for preeclampsia. You're looking for protein in the urine, swelling, your blood pressure spiking, that kind of stuff. So at the end of my pregnancy, they were concerned about that with her. So there is some anxiety, concern when it comes to that. My thing, like what Stephanie said with Brianna, is it's one thing to be concerned. It's another thing to be fearful. She's like fearful. What else is going on in there? Because, hypertension can be controlled in pregnancy, but she said diet hasn't helped her. Exercise hasn't helped her. It seems like it's more than just hypertension. It may be something more underlying with her hypertension that may be causing her to pull back and, have some fear about that. But that's my perspective for that, from the nurse Jackie and from the mama of 3 Jackie that had pregnancy-induced hypertension. And like Stephanie said too, all of that can be quelled when you find the right healthcare provider and you have somebody that you sit down and you talk through these things about. Someone that can relate to your situation, that is very knowledgeable and can help calm your fear. And I'm gonna say this too. And then when you can get some peace when it comes to the God that you serve, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? You pray about that thing. You pray about that thing and like, you know, let the Lord lead you. Well, should I have kids? When I should have kids? You know, fix that up. I'm done.
No, you good. You know, might give you an offering later.
Oh, come on, pass the collection plate.
No, I think one of the biggest issues, I think, understand from a man perspective, as Tommy, and you know, men out here with fathers. I mean, men with kids. You want to have your own kids, again, but you also want to do it in timing. We knew, and I just can talk about us. We knew, we talked about this. I want to have kids, but let's know us. We even though we knew each other in college, we didn't know each other married. And so to me, we looked at it as a different level because we lived in the same dorms, but we were living in the same house. I could go to my dorm room. She can go to her dorm room. Now we're in a house together. So let's get to know each other, how our routines work and how we maneuver and how we do things like this before we introduce a child into this relationship. Because again, all those us with kids and been married, you realize when you have that child into a relationship, it takes some time. Somebody's going to have to be up. Somebody's going to have to go to sleep. Depends on your work schedule. It's going to take a lot of time and some effort. And so if your relationship's already shaky, it's going to get even shakier because you just put something else into the dynamic of the relationship. One of my concerns was y'all talking about having kids and y'all don't even got your budget right. And I'm not even trying to be funny though. You're talking about having kids. We know kids take a pull, and I'm not even just talking about buying things. I'm just talking about what if you got a hospital bill you got to take care of. If you got these pre-existing condition and you got to stay in the hospital longer, and you know Vincent is an entrepreneur, so his insurance is a little bit different. Bree's insurance is one way, so now your money's funny, and you got to pay. And your budget ain't tight. Now you got to pay all these extra hospital bills and stuff. Now you have an issue that you didn't have before, which is some financial stuff on top of having a baby, on top of her being sick. And now you having to do everything. It becomes a pressure. You might be inviting more issues into your marriage than anything that you want. My thing is set a strong foundation. Get your stuff in order. Make sure your stuff is straight. And then when your stuff is straight, then you guys can move into having a baby. Nobody's against having a baby. And then try it that way. Consult your physician. And there's nothing wrong with adopting if you got to go that route. Because if you adopt a baby when it's younger, they don't know. You know, but they don't know.
Love that point. They ain't got their budget right. That was good. And we go back to August Love. Yeah, you did mention a topic which was quite fiery, quite touchy for us on Thursday night. Had a lot of people in the comment section going on a wild thing. You understand? So, what did you mentioned about colorism? Go for it, bro. And Tommy and Tico, give us a little bit of a breakdown. I'll let the other members as well also contribute.
Well, like when we discussed it, you know, we talked about how growing up, me and my sister is worse than me. I love my sister to death, but she's darker than me. And I don't know if she thought she was ugly or not, but she never, you know, expressed herself in a way of saying, hey, I'm a pretty black girl or I'm a pretty girl. But for me personally, I had, you know, issues of being so dark because I was dark skinned, short, and had acne. So it was like, man, I had three things working against me, man, you know. But that's the way I looked at it. But it was like you see all these the light skinned guys, they getting all the pretty girls and stuff like that. Until one day I just grew up and was like, man, this chocolate is, man, hey, you get what you get with me. I'm the prize. Once I start realizing that and start feeling that way, it's like I see where the issue comes from. I see why it's a light skin and a dark skin. And I started actually correlating it to slavery, you know, because the lighter tone slaves would be in the house and the darker tone slaves would be out in the field. So it's like we have issues rooted back many years. And it's a lot of times a lot of people are like, no, you know, that's not it. It's nothing going on. But man, it's a real issue. And something I didn't know is that other countries go through the same thing. Like I didn't know white people went through the same thing. I didn't know it was somebody was talking about I think they either say Asians.
They said Indians. Like people from India.
People from India like go through that same thing with colorism, and that's something I didn't know. I just knew our issues with colorism is from light skin and dark skin. And so when Brianna brought that up, I was like, wow, that like I could see that being something that she would be like, I had an issue with this, growing up. And then Artika said something to me. She was like, it's worse for women than it is for men. Just because for women, I mean, they have to be chosen. Most of the time people think light skin or is prettier than dark skin. Me personally, I think women are pretty. I adore women. Especially this one. But
good save.
I think all women are beautiful in their own way. You know what I'm saying? And no matter what color you are, no matter what race you are, you carry yourself how you want to carry it. But just that colorism thing is just it just hits home with me, and I understand it, and I understand where she was coming from with what she was saying. Now the question is how does Vincent like respond to that? Because I mean, like, yeah, she's over it now, but it may come up, they may have children, and that's a part of their children's idea. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how does Vincent like deal with that? Because I felt like it was kind of like overlooked, So I don't know. That was my thoughts on it.
Yeah, we definitely have had that conversation. And that's something that, like, my mother is darker than I am. My mom got with my dad. My dad is what we consider high yellow. My daddy has hazel eyes. He's 6'6", he's tall, light skinned, and everybody's looking for him. So when you see that, and then you hear the stories of like my mom as a kid, who people told her she was pretty for a dark skinned girl, my mom always had the rebuttal of, no, I'm just pretty. There is no for a dark skinned girl. Like, you don't have to put the color spectrum into it, because I am a beautiful person in general. You don't have to make anything of skin color about it. And that's one of the things that's that I try to push with people talking about our daughter. Like, people are always saying our daughter's a cute little chocolate baby. I'm like, no, she's just cute. Like, we don't have to like make reference to the fact as if you're saying she's cute because she's chocolate or in spite of being chocolate. She's just an adorable baby in general. And I feel that she would be adorable even if she was light or if she was dark. Like, she's just herself, and she is a ray of sunshine all by herself. And that's just the ending of it. But going back to what he was saying about his sister, I do know that people in the past have treated, if you have two kids, the exact like boy girl, they usually are going to gravitate towards making sure that the girl knows that she's pretty in spite of whatever it is that they're talking about. It's never just, and I'm not just talking about color, but in general. If she was a little chubby, they would say she's cute for a chubby girl. Or if she's dark skinned, she's cute for a dark skinned girl. And it's like, when you go through that and we have to be in spite of, that's where the issue starts a lot. And I felt like Brianna was saying, guys were always not choosing her, or people were not choosing her because she was dark skinned. And she's a great catch in general. Like, it has nothing to do with her skin color or anything like that. So that was part of the colorism conversation that we had kind of off camera about the situation, because I know a lot of people look at the colorism of her choosing or wanting Vincent because of his skin color. And I didn't think anything of that, because I don't think she's ever mentioned that. I remember her saying that he had a beard and he was bald head, but she never like made mention of his color. But I definitely think that one of the things that she's going to have to make sure, and I do this with my family, like, I have like taken the word nappy out of the household's vocabulary. You cannot say that word in my household, like you might get put out. Like, there's another way that you can find to describe hair, so figure it out. Use your vocabulary. Let's go get a dictionary. Let's go get a thesaurus. Let's figure out something else. Because usually those words are said to be degrading, and we're not degrading people in this household. So let's take a step back. Let's figure it out, and let's try a different verbiage for it. And so that was one of the things that I thought of with Brianna and Vincent, was that she's going to definitely have to make sure that she hasn't internalized any of that before she starts having kids, because she can project that onto her kids.
Excellent point out there. Excellent point. Good point. Anybody else wanted to contribute towards this particular topic?
Yeah, I think. Go ahead, Stephanie. I saw
Stephanie.
your finger. Go ahead. You can go.
It's real quick.
That's right.
I think it was. I don't think that Vincent responded well. It was kind of like, oh man, that's crazy. Like, I don't feel like he responded at all.
Was that damn?
You know, and
He kind of was just like, oh, okay.
it was an opportunity to say you're beautiful. I don't even see you that way. Like, I hope that doesn't, carry on. I want a daughter that looks just like you. There was a lot of ways that he could have slid into home plate there. He chose not to play at all. And historically, he comes from the DR. Not all Dominicans, so please don't chase me down. But I'm Haitian, so we have heard a lot of the turmoil. A lot of us have heard a lot of the turmoil in the way that like darker skinned Haitians are treated in DR. They're treated like animals simply because of the color of their skin. Lighter skinned Haitians, or even Haitians from the United States, if we come in, we're going to be treated a certain way because there's a certain caliber and aesthetic that is not afforded to everyone. And so I would like to know, how do you think about it? Because I know you see it in your country. You grew up there. What were you taught about darker skinned people? What is your grandma going to say? Am I going to walk in and is your grandma going to say, oh, pretty, not be here? Because I'm going to fight her. These are conversations that we need to have because historically that culture there's been a lot of stuff in the news and a lot of things that we have seen, and that can go for a lot of people. But because he is Dominican and because they have had notorious history with, treating my people a certain way, who look a certain way, I want to know what you think. I want to know what your family has taught you. Have you experienced that? Have you witnessed that? How, his mom was super cool, but like if we went back to the DR, how would they accept me? That's the stuff that we're not thinking about right now because it's like, oh, I love you. This is great. And then you go home and now you got to deal with something completely different and it will be a problem. So, that's my 2 cents on that.
I was going to say something like that. And I know you had a comment. I was going to comment on that, Stephanie, too. I feel like, Vincent did miss an opportunity, but I think he just really did not grasp it. Mm-hmm. He just didn't grasp it, and I understand what you're saying about, how it is for in the Dominican Republic, and I don't know. I just feel like he just missed it because he just didn't grasp it. I feel like he probably never actually experienced it or heard it. And it is different. It went right over his head. And I don't know how it is in the Dominican Republic, but I know how it is in the United States. And, he's probably, really never been privy to what, dag, I didn't know it was like that for y'all dark skinned, African-American women. I think it just really went over his head. I don't think, it wasn't, and none of us have said it. I don't think it was malicious or anything. It was just like, he was like, he really should hopefully come back later and ask those questions, like you said, Stephanie, and be like, oh, you mentioned this. Can we talk about that some more? What was it like? It's funny, my daughter and I, and it's not Dominican and African-American, but like my daughter and I on the way home, we're talking about that, how she said a friend of hers doesn't necessarily want to go to a PWI, a predominantly white institution, because she was like, she thinks about stuff like that. Like, okay, what about when I have to wash my hair? I'm scared to do my whole wash day routine in front of the white people, the Caucasian people, for them to be like, what are you doing? Why does it take you so long? Why don't you wash your hair every day? Like, she doesn't want all those questions and stuff. And so, it's even with us living here, we are in the United States with all these, white/Caucasian people. We see them every day. And in 2021, they still have questions. And, it's, so I just think, sometimes he might just be oblivious. We be around white folks all the time. And they still want to be like, can I touch it? Can I touch your hair? Is that your hair? What you do to your hair? What's that? What's on it? What's the, gosh, so I don't know, maybe he's just oblivious. He might have been in a space where he just didn't see it. I don't know. You never know.
Mm-hmm. Now, I just want to say, you said what I wanted to say, that he didn't get it, but also looking at it from the perspective, she said that was one of the issues that she dealt with when she was younger. And so I want to go back to what Tommy said. What happens if the baby come out darker? Do she have an issue? You know, do she have a problem now because she started reverting back to her childhood, and she becomes that mother with all the walls up. Don't talk about my baby. Don't say nothing about my baby. You better not, you know. So now you have another issue, especially if somebody family in the family, as Stephanie said, somebody in the family say something, then that's a whole different issue. So I understand where she's coming from. My thing with her, you know, I hope she continue to heal on that, and I hope they can get past that, because that's something that's, for her to bring it up, it still bothers her. And that's the way I look at it. For her to bring it up, it's still, it may not be an open wound, but it's a wound. Every time she look at it or hear it, she can reflect, she can feel the pain of how she got it and how it got there and how it dealt with it and how it hurt her, which leads to why she's so successful and why she's so bossy, because she's always been an overachiever. So, okay, you may talk about how dark I am, but guess what? I'm an engineer. You may talk about how dark I am. I'm rolling like this. Sometimes people replace their hurt with different positions in life. So guess what? You can say this, but look where I'm at. This dark skin I got here. So I think, you know, it's some issues that she may have to continue to deal with. And that is another conversation they're going to have some counseling on too. Because they're going to have kids.
Good points. Don't know if anyone else has anything else to add. No? Everyone good?
I mean, it's only me left. And no, I don't want to say nothing.
That's cool. It is a touchy subject, so that's why I just want to see anyone's...
A very touchy subject.
Very touchy subject.
Yeah, no, I don't want to say anything.
Just to add, obviously, to the conversation. So, because we had this conversation on Thursday night, and it did pop off, because the panel, some of them did suggest that Brie may have some colorist views, and the reason why they suggested that was because she actually asked for a tanned man. So I from the UK perspective, I've never heard a black person say tanned, meaning black. But let me ask my American audience on here: have you ever heard someone black say as tanned, meaning someone of color? I don't know. I've never heard it before. So maybe it's a different culture perspective. You know, she specifically asked for a tanned man. That was a quote. That was what she actually asked for. So I don't know. Anybody can open their mic and suggest maybe there is another thing you said.
Yeah, I'm going to say something. I'm going to go ahead and say something. I think that when it comes, if she said tanned, she was saying if he is of another ethnicity, then I need him to have some color to him, right? I think as a black person, we don't say tanned. We say light skin, right? We say dark skin. So I really feel like she's open to the spectrum. That's why they gave her someone who was Dominican, even though we equate Dominican with black. Like, she would have been open to dating someone of Latin origin or who is from India. Like, I think that she would have been open to it. I'm gonna just stop right there because I'm about to go to over there. So the end.
Peace out. August Love, you opened your mic yet?
No, I was just about to say, no, I've never heard in the States a black person being referred to as tan. Like, that's just not a statement we usually say light skin, dark skin, brown skin. Like, those are our color spectrum.
Yellow.
That's still light skin.
Oh.
So light skin, dark skin, brown skin. So I've never actually heard anyone use the term tan.
I just wanted to add to one more thing. Like, I don't think a person is a colorist because they have a preference, right?
I don't either.
I love dark skinned men. I'll date someone light skinned. I'll date someone brown skinned, but my preference is a dark skinned man. And if you have a preference, for me, that is okay, right? And I'm gonna just give y'all like a little quick story. So on my father's side, everyone is of darker complexion. So where everyone else might have had the issue of colorism from the dark side, for me, it was, oh, you're light bright. Oh, you've got white in your family. Oh, so it was more of a, like, it made me feel some kind of way, like, why am I not darker? Why do I have to, why are you picking on me? Like, literally, I would cry. I think I got a little trauma still from it because it feels like some tears is coming up in the back of my eyes. But the fact of the matter is, I had the exact same effect, but from a different perspective. And it could have been because, I don't know, they were trying to make me tougher. It could have been because they, you know, thought I was, I don't know, prettier. When I have a cousin who looks like my exact twin, but is darker complected, right? So, you know, that's a thing. Like, it's a thing, and I'm gonna stop because this is why I don't talk about it, because I probably need to go get me some therapy, okay, on this specific issue.
You're good, Talisa. You're good. No worries. You're good. And I mean, yeah, I totally understand. I mean, sometimes it can be a tough conversation, so I do get it. But you're good, Talisa. Don't worry. And it actually doesn't, in terms of actual colorism, it doesn't work. If you want to date someone who's dark skinned, nobody's going to question that. Specifically, it often happens whenever there's a dark skinned person wanting to date someone lighter, just because of what we internalize oftentimes. So I think what was I think the conversation around the Bree situation was that as a dark-skinned woman, if your preference is a tanned man, then you tell us your story that you had experienced colorism, I think people kind of put two and two together and thought, have you really got over it? Or have you just let it sink in deeper and it's now acting outwardly and you don't realize? So I think that's why people were kind of on it. But it you know, I get it.
I understand. I understand. But I still feel like a preference is a preference. Even if it is rooted in whatever your deep-seated bias is, like, it still now has become your preference. But that's just my way of thinking, that you're entitled to like what you like. And you know what I'm saying? And hopefully that's not where it's rooted. Hopefully she could like people on the entire spectrum, right? And not just specifically a tan man, but you know, for me, I just feel like in her instance specifically, for me, it felt like she had worked through whatever trauma that she had through dance and through being successful, that quite possibly, we don't know for sure, I wish we could get her on here and she could tell us, but that she might have worked through it and that she just likes him because he's handsome. Fingers crossed. I'm always like on the hopeful side, right? I hope that that's what it is. Fingers crossed, you know, fingers crossed.
All toes. I hear that. All right, cool. And just obviously the last part of Bree and Vincent was the fact that she didn't want him to sleep in. And I thought that was a really important part of the conversation that they did have. So if we can get everybody's thoughts, I know we've spoken quite a bit for Bree and Vincent, I didn't realize. But in terms of Bree and Vincent, she did say, you know, she want old boy to rise, you know, and then they tried to come to a compromise, and a compromise that he go to bed earlier, so they can rise earlier, so he can be up with Bree. What was the kind of thoughts on that? What do we think about that? Was that a little bit too much? Is that fair to say, you know, as a couple, like, should we be, you know, trying to work things out to a point where we get up early and stuff like that? Might be a bit cute. JacandGlen, your mic's already open, so go for it.
Yeah, I think with all due respect to him, though, it was like, I understand where she kind of coming from a little bit. She want to spend some time with him. Now, again, we talk about them getting to know each other. And so now if she's getting up at dark 30, which is like, you know, real early, and he went to bed late, that's a different story. You know, but again, my biggest issue with her, she's not willing to compromise. If we can compromise, maybe on Monday, Tuesdays, and Saturdays, you get up early, we can have breakfast together, you know, set a schedule. You know, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I'll let you sleep late. Set a schedule, you know, for you just to keep nagging. I think TV made it to be a bigger issue. I know he was like, oh, I want to sleep. But again, I need some more context. How long are you sleeping, Vincent? You know, are you sleeping till noon? Or are you sleeping till whatever? And we don't know. Is Brianna at home all day? Is she, you know, during a pandemic? Is she at home? Is she going to work? You know, is she leaving to go out to the office? Is she at the house? You know, if she's at the house, you know, let the man sleep, because you got to go to work, and let him get up, and then y'all can have a conversation. You know, if he want to see you off. And I just, from my experience, when Jackie used to work at the hospital, when she used to work for the hospital and she used to get up, I used to make sure I was up. Hey, see you later, you know, have a good day, talk to you later, and maybe go back to bed, you know, or sometimes when I work nights. So you got to be able to communicate that and work on that issue. Again, it goes to communication. It goes to, I think, Bree not wanting to change, and she wanted to have stuff her way. Again, if he's tired, he's not a morning person. Like I said, I just need some more context. Is he coming home at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning? Is he coming home at 9 and sleeping until 8:30? Just more context will help us understand even more about sleeping. But just a sleeping piece, man, you can get up a little bit and say goodbye to your wife, or give her a kiss, and, you know, go out the door and come back to bed.
Yeah, that's what we talked about. It's like we have to put it in perspective. Like, how early are you getting up, Brianna, that you're expecting him to get up? And how late is he sleeping? Because it's one thing to say he's sleeping till 9 o'clock. It's another thing to say he's sleeping till noon. It's one thing if you get up at 7 as opposed to as if Brianna gets up at 4 or 5. Like, you know, I wouldn't probably expect Vincent to get up that early, you know, but she does need to work on compromise. Absolutely. Because she didn't do that at all. She was like, well, if you go to bed earlier, you can get up earlier. No, that's not the compromise. How about the compromise is like they said, how about 2 days a week? I'm gonna let you sleep in. I'm not even gonna bother you. Go ahead and sleep in, babe. Another compromise, but that was from Vincent's side. Like my husband said, get up. All right, babe, have a good day. Kiss, kiss, hug, hug, and go back to sleep. And we just didn't see any compromise there. But like he said, I need perspective because my husband's the early morning person. I'm like Talisa. I don't sleep late. Like I'm always going to wake up at 8 o'clock. No matter what happens. If I go to bed at 1, I'm going to wake up at 8. For some people, that's late because you got really early risers. My husband knows she good. I know she's already there. He don't bother me. I don't bother him.
I just be getting my work done. It is what it is. It's nice and quiet. You get your work done.
Are you trying to say I'm loud?
I'm just trying to say we share an office.
Good save. Beautiful, bro. Appreciate it. Yeah. August Love, I get your perspective as well. What do you think? Sleeping in, is it a bit too much to be asking for someone to sleep in, or is the brother just want some sleep up in here?
Well, I'm going to start off by saying I am married to Brianna. This guy right here wants you to wake up at the butt crack of dawn because he is up at the butt crack of dawn. And that's just not me. I remember when we first moved in together, I was working retail. So if anybody's ever worked retail, you do not have a consistent schedule at all, ever. So I would be working until 9:30, 10 o'clock some evenings. And what am I getting up at 8 a.m. for the next day? I'm not going to work at 8 a.m. The mall doesn't even open until 10.
I hear that.
So when you're looking at it from that standpoint, why do you need me to get up? Is it you want to spend time with me? Okay, we can spend time with each other, but like, let me have my sleep because I am coming home later. If I'm not getting off until 9:30, I'm not getting home until 10. We don't know Vincent's work schedule. And like, we live in Atlanta. He lives in Atlanta.
He working hard.
We think that traffic stops at 7:30, 8 o'clock here. It does not. You could go out at 1 o'clock in the morning and the freeway can be backed up. And you're like, what is everybody doing? But when you look at it from that standpoint, I think she is going to have to figure out whatever her compromise is. Like he got his and now we got this baby and she's flipped the whole schedule upside down. But I think that started before we got pregnant with her. Because he was back in school. So when he went back to school to get his master's in accounting, his nights started getting later and later. And I was still up sometimes with him. And then I would be the one going to bed early. And he would still be up 1, 2 o'clock in the morning studying for a test, writing whatever he had to write for class. So now he's gotten to the point where he's staying up later. And I don't think we have sleep arguments anymore. I think we're both trying to just get a nap when we can. Would you agree?
Are you done?
I'm done.
Oh, okay. So everything she said was not true. So this is it. This is what happened. So when we first got together, I was Brie when we first got together. But then I realized it was like, man, I don't want to be over her. I kind of want my personal time. You know, like one thing we did do was like I would leave to go to work because I was working, have to be at work at 7 o'clock. We would pray, get up and pray. And then she'd go back to sleep and I'd leave and go to work. You know what I'm saying? That's the only time I would wake her up. And us doing that got us to the point. So now it's like I sneak out the bed and just go do what I need to do. But what I feel like Bree needs to understand when it comes to that, you're not every morning, you're not going to eat breakfast with your spouse. Every morning, you guys aren't going to be on the same page. So, I mean, it's cool if both of y'all say, hey, Wednesday, we're going to wake up, we're going to cook breakfast, we're going to eat breakfast before we get ready to go. But, I mean, you have to just, live a normal life, because you treat people the way you want to be treated. Nobody wants to be waking out of their sleep if they don't have to. So don't wake this man up out of his sleep. Now, if the man is just being straight up lazy and not doing anything, then yeah, I can see your point. But, you know, we all know, like, what you can obviously see, like with her, she didn't say that's the point. You know what I'm saying? She's saying he's working. She's saying he's doing this. Just leave the man alone. Let the man sleep, man, because obviously, you know, he doing something right. Y'all still together, so.
And one of those things that she said was he was up on his phone late at night. Like, we don't know if he's checking emails. We don't know what he's doing. And unless she's asking specific questions, she doesn't really know either. So he could be still technically working. I just feel like, you know, you throw out a couple of days, just make the agreement that, okay, every Wednesday we're going to get up and we're going to have breakfast together. Every Saturday we're going to get up and have breakfast together. Every Sunday we're going to get up and have breakfast together. And let him sleep the rest of the days. But like, set a day of the week that you guys can agree on and move on. Like, he doesn't have to get up just because you're up. Like, nobody is buying a car at 6 a.m. That's what he does for a living. Why is he up at 6 a.m. because you're awake? That just doesn't make sense. And that's it.
Good points. Good points. Damn, if someone's buying a car at 6 a.m., I want to know who they are. Stephanie, go for it.
I just think she's being annoying, to be honest. You know, I love Bree, I love Vincent, but she's just being annoying. It has like the sprinkle of the honeymoon phase where you think you're going to do everything together, and you think, like, I drink coffee. I love coffee. My husband does not. When we first got married, I was like, oh, we're going to get up, we're going to drink coffee together. He doesn't drink it. So like, now what? You know, like, you just have to respect who people are. I think it's a good compromise to pick some days that you can get up together, but even that will change because life will change. This baby he's begging for will wake him up in due time. You know, and then you're no longer sleeping in, because I like to sleep in too. And now that has changed. So I just think she, you know, it's her. I really love Brianna, but it's her way. Even the way she responded, it's like, well, if you get up earlier, you can be more productive. So what she's saying is not even, I want to spend time with you. Like at least that would be like cute. Like, oh, I want to spend time with you. I miss you. You know, I'd roll my eyes still, but like, at least it'd be okay. But she's saying you need to do it this way because this is the better way to do it. But some people are better at night. I'm better at night. I mean, not since I've had a baby, but before baby, I was a night owl. I really get going. I'm more creative. My husband is meditating at 5:30 in the morning. I'd sooner jump off of something, but he loves it, you know? I mean, so it's kind of like, just let him do him. And if that man is tired, that really bothered me for him, because I feel like he's asking for permission to sleep and he can't be himself. And if you feel judged by your spouse, then you're not going to be comfortable in your home. And then you're not going to be your real self. And then 5 years later, it's like, who did I marry? Well, I've been lying this whole time. Because it starts with a little thing, and then you start changing a lot of things to accommodate that person. It gets old quick. So she needs to just relax.
Love that point. Phew, Talisa, what you saying, girl?
I'm gonna say that, you know, she made a comment that said, you know, he'll ask for 30 minutes, but be sleep 3 hours longer. That means he's tired. If I ask for 30 minutes and I tell you I'm going to get up in 30 minutes and I don't get up in 30 minutes, that means I am physically exhausted. Let me rest, because when I'm rested, I'm a better person. I'm happier. I'm not snappy. I can be more productive. When I'm tired, I'm going to be looking at you like, okay, so what you want to do? Eat breakfast together? Okay. You know what? I don't really want this. I have a whole attitude because you woke me up and my body says, right? You're doing what your body tells you to do. It's not that I just want to lay here unless, you know, he's low-key depressed or something, but that's not what we're getting, right? We're not getting that he's having some kind of mental health issue. We're getting that he's exhausted. And then there was something, you know, because I hear her saying like she's doing it every day, but is she? Or is she doing it on her days off? like on Saturday and Sunday when she's off, and he's still resting because he was out until all night delivering cars. And now he has to do it again. I'm just kind of wondering, I'm probably like car broker days are busier on the weekend. So I don't know. I'm just in my mind trying to figure out when is she doing this and is she considering his schedule and what he's experiencing? Because, you know, like Stephanie said, she's annoying. Also, I think it's a little selfish, right? Like, because what we're not going to do is wake me up. Well, that's just not what that's not what we're going to do. You're going to never want to wake me up again after, like, I done told you once, let me rest, you know, because at first, let me rest. I'm going to get up, you know, maybe first 2 times. The 3rd time, the dragon is going to get unleashed and you're going to be like, I'm never going to wake that girl up again, ever. She gets up whenever she wants to, like, period, the end.
I hear that. Good points, guys. Good points. So, obviously, moving on from Bree and Vincent. I know we took a nice little chunk out of time with that one. But moving on from Bree and Vincent, let's go straight into, Ryan and Clara. They're like my second favorite couple to discuss on this show, or if not first, because, you know, this whole dodging and making it look as if you guys are perfect when really the dude is really stinking behind closed doors right now, and no one's really wanted to talk. So, you know, I wanted to get your thoughts on the Ryan and Clara saga. Jack and Glenn, talk to me. Ryan and Clara, what's going on there, man? You know, all this perfectisms.
Oh man, this is funny to me because this dude keeps putting on airs. You know what I'm saying? You know, they showed a little clip of him talking to Claire's mom. I really wanted to see him talk to the dad because to me, I think mom gave him what he wanted to hear. Mm-hmm. You know, mom pacified it. I don't know. Production was like, you know, let's have him and mom conversation because she gave him the church story and how she wanted when she didn't go to church till she had Clara and the kids, and so that's what he wanted to see and that's what he wanted. I want to hear the conversation. I want to see the conversation with dad. Like, okay, dad, you're not into the church. How do y'all manage? How do y'all handle the situation? To me, they don't address any issues. We never seen these people. We never seen them argue. She don't bring up no points because it's like she's what we talked about. Bree and Vincent walking on eggshells earlier. I think Claire's walking on a lot of eggshells. That she's not bringing up a lot of points just because she doesn't want Ryan to. One, she doesn't want to. I think they made a deal early to not put their private business out there. I think, okay, we're not gonna put our private business out there. If you listen to her talk sometime, she'd be like, you know, Ryan's a private person, or Ryan doesn't want our sex business to be out there. And so they did a deal, but she just can't stop talking. Remember, he said she talked too much. So if you look at that, it's like, okay, he wants to be private, she wants to be open, and her openness is, I want to get this thing fixed, I want to get it resolved, I want to be able to have a happy marriage. Or Katrina have well, they say they have a happy marriage, but they got a lot of issues because that sex issue is a big issue, the religious thing is a big issue, and they're gonna have to fix those or they won't have a marriage. And I think she's just being there because, again, I said it last week, it's a safe place for her. She finds the love there with him and it's safe, but she doesn't realize that these issues, if it's not, when they start having kids, these issues are going to be magnified even more because they're going to magnify because he's going to want to get up on Sunday morning and take their daughter or son to church. And he's going to want her to come as a family. Now, if it's both his parents involved, they're both pastors, he probably grew up like most PK kids, being involved in the church, doing a lot of different things in church. So he might be somebody, you know, a Sunday school teacher or something like that, and he may want to see his wife involved in that. So they need to fix that issue because it's going to turn into something bigger if they don't get it straight now.
Mm-hmm. You know what? You just said something that I didn't think about either. So let's say, you know, Ryan is really involved in church, and, you know, as the Sunday school teacher or the youth pastor, since we know that he's about image, that's what we're getting from him, how things look. How's it going to look the youth pastor's wife don't come to church? How's it going to look the Sunday school teacher's wife don't come to church? You know, he might be thinking like that too. So when she said, well, my mom was in church, but my dad wasn't, and it worked for them. And in the back of his mind, he's like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. No, I'm gonna expect you on that front row. with that big Bible wide open. You better know where the books are. But yeah, I think Clara came into this too also, whatever agreement that she and Ryan had about keeping their stuff private. And now he talks about she talks too much. And I think in her mind, she's like, you know what? Maybe that's why my relationship messed up before. I talk too much and I just really don't want to push Ryan away. Maybe she's feeling like this is her last chance too. So this time in this one, so doing a Married First Sight, I'm gonna be quiet to him because obviously she's talking to the girls. She's talking, she's just not talking to him. And that's the person she should be talking to. We don't know what conversation, they're not having too deep of a conversation of if some of the things that Dr. Pepper talking about, you was like, I never asked her that. You didn't ask her how she felt, huh? You didn't, what are y'all talking about? But yeah, so that's what I thought about Claire. I was like, I think she's really going to take the perspective of, I don't want to run him away. Even when she made the comment about the sex conversation. If I ask him about it, if we talk about it, I know that date keeps moving further and further away. So I think that's the stance that she's taking. She really wants to because she's used to being open and speaking her mind. But then I think a little bit of her is like, don't do that, girl. He's a catch. He's a catch. Don't push him away. I don't know. They're gonna have to fix that. Cause she already got her stuff moving in his place. They're gonna have to fix that.
I hear that. August Love, what you guys saying? Has Ryan trained Clara now to be quiet now? And
I'm gonna start out by saying I don't think Ryan cares about Clara at all. Like it's funny because I look at the way he looks at her when she talks. You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of like everything's going in one ear out the other. He says for sure a lot, which he got me saying for sure a lot now.
Sure.
For sure, yeah, sure. No, but it's just like him come to the realization that he didn't know how she felt about the sex. Like, nah, you're not listening to what she's saying. You don't even care. You're not listening. Like something is going wrong. Like that's why you didn't know about it. It's like you're not caring about it. I think he uses the love word that statement. I haven't said I love you. I think he uses that as a, hey, I never said I love you, right? He uses it that way instead of just really understanding what it is and what he's looking for, because still to this day or from the show, we don't know what it is that he's looking like. What is the number that she needs to do or the thing that she needs to hit for him to say this? What's the big deal? It's not an aha moment gonna happen. It's just like, hey man, it's just a feeling. Like you love your friends, you love your brother, you love your mom and your dad. Hey man, it's just gonna happen. You're looking for this magical thing, and so I honestly feel bad for Clara because she's having to live with basically kind of asking him, hey, can I say this to them on camera, or hey, you mind if I say this? And it's not allowing her to express herself in the way that she really wants to, which is weird, man. It's like I don't know. I guess I look at it differently, just because I am married, but. Coming into a situation, if I don't know you, I'm going to treat you exactly how I want to treat you. I'm going to treat you how I want you to treat me. But if you don't treat me the way I want you, the way I've been treating you, I'm going to treat you completely different. You know what I'm saying? I ain't going to hold my tongue for nobody. I don't do that for my wife now. So it's like, what's the point? So I really feel bad for Clara because after this episode, I was like, yeah, Ryan doesn't care about her.
Yeah. So. I think that Ryan's the way that he treats everything is let it just look good for TV, but he's not knowing what Claire is saying on the other side because they're not filming confessionals together or diary cam, I think is what they call it on Married at First Sight. They're not filming those together. So he's being selfish in the regard that he's not even attempting to try to see her side of things. And she is walking on eggshells around him. Like, every time they've sat down together and talked to the experts, it's like she says something and then she looks back at him as if she's waiting for his approval of what she just said. Like, things are going great, right?
For sure.
So it's just like she's not even allowing her full self to be involved in this, in any of the conversations with the experts. And it's coming off as the two of them lying to everyone about everything because they want to look so perfect, so happy. And that's just not the case. And like anybody that's been married will tell you, it's not always roses. So since it's not always roses, just be real about it. Like, it's okay to say we have issues. And at 6 weeks in, for two people that don't know each other, there should be some type of issue that you have to, like, the hurdle that you need to get across. And I think they just came into this with an idealistic view of what marriage should be. And she's carrying into it that a wife should be this way. And that's agreeing with my husband. So I'm going to agree with whatever my husband says. And I just don't think that that's serving her at all.
Appreciate August love. Thank you very much. Stephanie, what you saying, man? Well, you know, it's a bit tight right now with Ryan and Clara, isn't it? You know, man even wrote a letter and it was so short and basic.
I don't know why Ryan decided to do this, because he doesn't belong here. He doesn't. He does not belong here. First of all, they're unequally yoked from the beginning in so many ways. I always say, like, there should be about 5 non-negotiables. You can be flexible with a lot of things, but, you know, children and religion and politics, a lot of those things foundationally don't work long-term if you're on opposite sides of the fence. That's Virginia and Eric, too. And I really don't think Ryan knows who he is. And if he does, he doesn't really want us to know who he is. I don't say love, or I've never said love. That's like a mechanism of control. And because he's not pinpointing, he's telling her he doesn't want it to be a checklist, which she's now mimicking. She's like a parrot now, saying it to Dr. Pepper. So, you know, they're in cahoots backstage saying, like, say this, so we're on the same page. But if I don't give you a checkpoint, then I can't tell you when you've arrived. If they told you to go to the airport and just get in security, but there were no signs to security, well, you haven't gotten there yet. Like, we'd be there forever and never get on this flight. So I feel sorry for Clara, because her bags are packed to nowhere, because she's with somebody who really doesn't want to be with her and is not here for the right reason. He presents well, but he's very much like his pantry, where it looks great on the outside and you open it up and it's a mess and it's broken inside. And I'm tired of seeing him, because it's like, he's so flat. The fact that he, said he was like 99% the best husband, or a 9 out of 10. I don't remember the number exactly, but it was way too high. Was a joke. And I can't watch them anymore. This season is so exhausting, y'all. Like, them, Jacob and Haley, like, but we're not getting at least a good match where, okay, I could see he cares, or even trying to be emotional. He's so, like, regimented. The letter was a joke. You know, I wouldn't change anything. I get that. Like, we could all say, you know what, we are where we are in life because we're meant to be here. But maybe I would have, in my 20s, taken my finances a little more seriously. Like, there's something that you can say that doesn't completely absolve and dismiss your appreciation for the journey that brought you where you are in life. But you can say, I could have done something different. That fell flat. When she read her letter, he was like, okay. He didn't even talk on that. It's like, I completely agree with Tommy. Like, he doesn't care about her. He really doesn't, because if he did, then he would approach this whole thing very differently. So, you know, I don't know.
Appreciate it, Steph. Talisa, what are you telling me?
So I, totally agree with what everyone is saying, right? And the thing about Clara for me is, when she said that she always speaks her mind, we know that that's not the truth, right? And so one of the things I always think about, even after, coming out of my marriage, not that he left me or nothing, but he did, just so y'all clear. He didn't leave me, but he left me. So I think one of the things I learned was that I choose me, right? I choose me above all else. I choose me, but I am going to consider my spouse. Like, I'm going to consider what you're saying. I'm going to consider. And like Stephanie said, those non-negotiables, you know, I never put a number to it, but I like that number 5, right? Those non-negotiables are so important because those are the things that are going to tell you whether or not this is something I should be continuing with. And intimacy is high on her radar. I get that she said, you know what, I want to try and do things differently. That's really great. But you're not expressing to your spouse that you want to do these things differently and really expressing like, I don't feel loved. I don't feel like you care. I don't feel like you're in this with me. So you're doing yourself an entire disservice by just going along with what he says for the sake of saying I'm married and I have a relationship and there's a security blanket and I feel safe because it looks good. He's racially ambiguous. He has a job. Whatever her checklist is, whatever her shallow checklist is, because we know that it is not, there's no depth behind it, right? So that's my biggest thing, because now when it comes to their relationship, I'm looking at Clara, like, you are also a driver in it. Like, you get to say what you want, sis. Like, you get to say that this isn't working for me. You get to say, I want this to look like this. It is not you alone, Ryan. And then when I think about Ryan, I just think that he is, might be just socially inept and checked out. And you can say a million things to him and it's doing like this. Is glossing over because I'm focused on what I want. You know, you ever deal with those people and you're having a conversation and you're trying to have them see things from another way and they just can't go on the other side? That's Ryan. This is it. This is my way. This is my way. Or no other way. Instead of saying, oh, you know what? I can see your point. Even if I don't agree with it, I need to be able to see on the other side how she feels. There was a point after those letters, like, I really liked Clara's letter and how open and vulnerable she was. You could tell that it came from the heart. And there was a point that you can see that she was visibly frustrated with his response to her letter, with his response in his own letter. And I thought to myself, he is not connected to her. There is no chemistry. There is no connection, because you could visibly, if I care about you, you could visibly see that this is bothering me, right? You could visibly see that I'm uncomfortable. Even when we're talking about it with the experts, you could visibly see that this isn't sitting well with me and I'm just doing this because this is what we agreed on. I probably never would have said he doesn't care, but he doesn't, right? I probably never, until right now in this moment, never would have said. I would have been like, oh, well, maybe this. No, there's no maybe. The more I talk about it out loud with you guys and the more I realize he does not care about her or her well-being or her needs. He doesn't value her or see her self-worth. And honest to God, she doesn't see it for herself either. So that's where it starts. And if I don't see it for myself, how you going to see it, right? It should exude out of me and you should automatically say, oh, this girl values herself. You know, oh, she's got it. She's got what she wants and she knows it. And I can't do anything but get in line. Like, yeah.
You know, just add to that point real quick point. When you say she don't value herself, because she always equated value with sex. And she told us that a long time ago. She equated sex with love. And I just thought about this. Maybe the issue she had with church has to deal with the reason that she's always having sex. Maybe she doesn't want the kids to go to church because a bad experience happened there that she doesn't want to happen to her kid. Just a thought, because she's always adamant about, I don't want them to go to church. I want them. And she talked about the Bible college she was at that she never finished. Something happened there that wasn't good. And I think we've seen that play out in her relationship, why she's so against religion and church.
It's a fair deduction, to be honest. I never thought about that, but yeah, now you said it, something to think about. Could be, yeah, could be. I mean, I've always said I think they both definitely need therapy, but yeah, I mean, and they really do need therapy. I think that is, without a shadow of a doubt, they're both going to really progress in a healthy manner. They both definitely need some quality therapy to help them through. Also, we have also Eric in Virginia this week. Eric in Virginia, it was quite interesting there. Particular session this week. I mean, I got in trouble this week for talking against Virginia, because obviously when we had a conversation on Thursday, because the panelists were talking about Eric's controlling behavior, which I also agree with. He's got a bit of controlling behavior, but I personally think Virginia's still moving mad. But anyway, let me ask the panelists, guys, what's your thoughts? What's your thoughts on Virginia and Eric and where they're at right now? Let me let Talisa go first. I know you were the last one to answer, but I'll let you go first.
They should just call it quits and be in. Like, this is a waste of my time, of your time, of their time. This is ridiculous to me. Specifically how they go back and forth on like Virginia wanting to like stay out, whether he's there or not. Like, sometimes I look at her and I go, like, she's mature. Sometimes you can see that there's some growth, and then she just reverts back. Like, you know, you've got all these standards that you want me to go by, and they're yours. And I'm all like, girl, listen, you shouldn't want to be staying out with no man. Like, I don't, with your friend, I don't care. You know, it's a storm. You shouldn't have been out in the first place. You knew the storm was coming, girl. Why is you out having a drink? Like, I just really want them to stop. Just stop. Really, and that's really all I can say. I'll probably add more at the end, but I just really, every time they come on the screen, I literally kind of check out, because I feel like they're just going to do the same thing over and over again. We're going to see that he's controlling. We're going to see that she, you know, doesn't get what he's saying. We're going to see that they don't know what happy middle is, what a compromise is. We're going to see her crying because of her family issues and what she needs to deal with and how she needs therapy. Like, it's just going to be the same thing. And I am literally exhausted by watching Virginia and Derek. One of the things we know is that they're going to say yes, right? We do know that at the period, point blank, no matter how bad this is looking, I feel like they're going to say yes. But I also feel like if they say yes, then they definitely need to live in separate places and date, so that they can actually see that I don't like you, right? I don't like you. I don't want to be with you. You're too old, right? You're too much of a party girl. Like, just date. Let her stay at her apartment. You stay in your condo and just date. And I guarantee in 6 months, you guys are going to go ahead and have that divorce that you probably should have got right after not Ready to Love. Lord help me. Married at First Sight. So I'm just saying, like, they just need to quit. They need to call it quits. If it's not Rocky, it's the friends, right? And there was one thing though. I liked, what's the sister-in-law's name? Bridget. I liked that she was like, well, he's gonna feel insecure if you're out, and this isn't like someone else is corroborating the fact that this isn't how things look. However, on the flip side, I like that the father shared with Eric that there is no set standard to marriage. Like, marriage is tailored to the two people in the relationship. There, you can't go by what was previous. Like, there was a lot, but it was all the same. Just say no and go on about your business. Be happy, be drunk and single with your friends. Eric, go find somebody that looks just like your sister-in-law, that talks like her, that moves like her, that has those values, and be happy, because y'all don't match.
Appreciate that, Talisa. Appreciate that. Passionate. Love it. Steph, what you saying? Virginia, Eric, what's going on? What's wrong? You know, talk to us, dissect it for us. You know,
I piggyback off of Talisa. Mm-hmm. I completely agree with her. The passion that she shared with how much she can't stand them. That's where I'm at too tonight. You know what I felt like I was watching? Like, I felt like I was watching a daughter argue about her curfew. But dad, that's all we were missing. But dad, my friends, like, every time I put them together in a way that could work, it's never really, like, I had an epiphany this week, because I've every review, I'm like, they could work if, and I've realized that all of these pieces that I've put together have created Eric and Virginia, who don't currently exist. They like exist 5 years in the future with therapy, you know, and mediation and maturity and life experience. They're just not here right now. So they're not going to work. They are on opposite sides of the fence with other things. Eric has some controlling tendencies. He is somewhat of a know-it-all. He has some great qualities, but he is somewhat of a been here, done that, and he doesn't get the irony of you're doing it again, so you don't get to tell people how it goes. But Virginia this week really, really irritated me, and I was just like, oh, throw the entire girl away, because I can't. I'm sitting here watching you like have a problem with not being able to black out on the couch. Like, you have a problem with not being able to black out on the couch or not being able to drink to the point where you cannot safely get yourself home. If you want to be single, just be single. But to think that not much is going to change when you get married, it is going to change. Everybody who's watching, it is going to change. Don't get married thinking it's not going to change. Do you have to fundamentally change who you are? No. But there will be some things that evolve. There will be some things that change. There are compromises to be made. If you don't want to do that, don't get married. And it's not just cheating, because she even threw that out so casually. Okay, like fidelity, but like everything else is free. And she's not even using that as like a healthy method. She's using that as a way to say, I want to design a marriage where I can do whatever I want. You don't say anything about it. Not like in a healthy way, like let's design a marriage that looks like us. She's using it as a tool to be able to stay out late because my friends are staying out late, and why can't I stay out too? And to even have the audacity to say, well, if you're not home, like I have to come home alone? Like, girl, you live alone, you're an adult, functioning barely, you work, like you go to work and then you come home. I know you don't party and black out 7 days a week. So the other 3 days a week when you're not blacked out, don't you come home? So the fact that me and my husband were like, what? Like, he's like, if I'm out of town, I expect you to be home. If you're out of town, I would expect you to come home. So the fact that she's now taking it a step further to say, well, since you're not home, I shouldn't have to come to our home. But you're now having conversations about eventually having children. Like, her and Rocky can go. I have had it with her. I've had it. She's way too immature. Like, Eric has problems, he does, but he's more prepared for this than her. And once again, I circle back to my first review. I wish they did not match somebody who's already been divorced and who's more seasoned in life and in relationships with such a juvenile, because they set him up to have a second divorce. And I agree with Talisa. They're going to say yes because they live in a fantasy. Because you ask Eric, everything's going great. Yeah, we were up and we went down. Now we're up. Child, you are not up. Okay, bring that hand down. You're down, and you have issues, and you guys keep sweeping them under the rug, and it's not going to work out. So they eventually will not work out. But Virginia, I had it with her. She's like the worst. That's it.
Thank you very much, Stephanie. Thank you. I feel like I've been, vindicated today. And, I just want to sing a song to the Lord. Hallelujah, by the glory. Revive us again. Thank you very much. Appreciate that, Steph. August, talk to us. What was you saying? Virginia and Eric. What's your thoughts around that?
Personally, I hate to side with Eric on anything, because I feel like he's so controlling, and he's so I know it's right, it's my way, it's right, it's correct. I do appreciate Virginia's dad like telling Eric, like, hey man, every marriage is different. Trust me, I've been in 2 of them. They're different. I appreciate that. Virginia, man, she just rubbed me the wrong way because it's dumb. It's the dumbest thing in the world. Is that, how don't you see that would bother a man? That you sitting up here, I go out of town, you're not gonna sleep in your own bed. Like, I'm a person that, back in my premarital, pre-Artica days, it was like that was my rule. Like, I'm gonna sleep in my own bed. Like, I don't care about the city. You know, it could be 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm gonna go home. You know,
I too had that same rule. Like, I don't stay at other people's houses unless the determination before I left my house was that I am spending the night here at this house where I am going. But like, just going out and drinking, like, I stopped drinking so that I can make it home safe.
Right.
Or I get an Uber together and I go home that way. But I'm not, no, staying out. I created a home that I want to be in, and I don't want to be in yours. Like, my bed is the most comfortable bed that I have ever been in because it is mine. It just doesn't make sense.
And also, I feel like Virginia, by wanting to go out so much and spend so much time with her friends, is not allowing the process to actually work in their favor. Because it's like, when like with anybody, when me and her first started dating, we would text all day. I would get off of work and then be like, so you gonna come over? Or, you know, can we go do this? Can we go do that? Like, majority of my time is spent was with her. And you know, you look back on you would think that people getting to know each other spend more time with each other. If you getting to know somebody, or you like, at this point it's accelerated to we're married, you would want to spend as much time possible with that person. Just you and that person, just because you're trying to get to know this person. You're trying to understand who this person is, and then you have a big decision to make in 8 weeks. So in 8 weeks, you can't, like, if I'm spending half the time with my friends that I used to spend majority of my time with, how am I trying to understand who my spouse is when I'm giving him only a half of the time needed to really get to know this person? So it's like she's not utilizing her time well. She's not looking at the situation as serious as it is. As much as she says she don't want to get a divorce, and divorce has basically scarred her and everything like that. But you're not doing the work to, you know, to not be divorced. Like, if I was Eric, I'd be like, nah, I can't deal with this. Like, she called the sister-in-law trying to like plead her case with her. Like, she was like, nah, that ain't gonna work. Basically, she says, like, that's not gonna work. Like, you can't just want to go out all the time and expect somebody to be happy about that. No, it's not gonna work. So that was my thought on that whole thing.
Yeah. The last thing that I'll say is, I think that Virginia's gonna have to get comfortable with herself. There is something going on as to why she feels like she always needs to be around people. She needs to spend the night at people's houses. She can't be alone. What if you're not at home that night? Like, that is asinine. Like, I don't get it. Your house should be your sanctuary, and your alone time should be okay. You should be able to be grounded in being alone. Like, that is okay to be by yourself. Alone does not equal lonely. And it is okay to be alone by yourself with your thoughts, with your things, and not have to be at Lane and Cole's house every weekend. Like, what happens when they get a wife or a girlfriend? Like, are you going to be the third wheel in their relationship or the fifth wheel in their relationship? It's something about that just does not make sense. And it doesn't sit well with me, because you shouldn't always need to be around people. Like, at some point, you should be able to detach from the situation and regroup and be by yourself, and then go back out into the general public. Like, I know some people are charged by people, but even people that are charged by people need to have some type of time to themselves. And it seems like the only time she's getting to herself is when she's in the bathroom, because she needs to be around people all the time. And it just, I don't know, something about that is just unhealthy to me.
You know,
can I say that too?
Yeah, but Rocky's in the bathroom with her, so she ain't
I
by
was just
herself.
thinking that. I was thinking she
That is true. I forgot about
that. But I was thinking the same thing, Artika. I was like, that's weird. Like, you can't be by yourself. You don't want to be alone. I thought that was so weird that she would say, you know, well, when you're not here, I'm going to hang out with Lane and them, and, you know, I'm going to stay at their house. Like, what? Why do you have to do that? Why go home? Go home, Roger. Go home. You know, I was like, that's just weird. And yeah, she did talk to the sister-in-law, was like, I'm gonna get some ammunition here. And the sister-in-law was like, yeah, no, he's a whole lot like his brother. Yeah, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. Yeah.
But you know,
I would feel some type of way. I would as a woman, you know, the sister-in-law saying I would as a woman, and my husband would feel that way too. Like you can't do that man like that and be hanging out with them men folk all the time at ungodly hours of the night. No, go home.
Eric need to lock the door when he goes fly off. When he flies away, he need to change the lock.
Yeah.
No,
but let me say this too. And then also, like you said, on Eric's side, you know, he was expecting her dad to flow with him. And dad was like, I like what Tommy said. Like, I did this twice already. I know every marriage ain't the same. So when Stephanie was talking about non-negotiables and stuff, you know, obviously Eric has some things, or he's got a mindset, he's got a way that he thinks things should go, and he is stuck in that, you know. And they should have put him with somebody that would fall into line with his thinking, because it's not Virginia. She's too young, she's too immature, she's got whatever other issues going on.
She don't wear the red hat.
She doesn't wear the red hat at all. But yeah, I'm like this, and I agree. When decision day comes, they're gonna say yes. They're gonna say yes, and it's gonna be the worst decision they can make. But I think they feel like everything's so hunky dory. You know, we gotta say yes. It's the best thing. It's the best thing. You know, so let's say yes.
but now I'm coming from another perspective, because you know what. Virginia might not have been alone before she got married to Eric. She might have been sleeping with somebody, might have been at her house, or she might have been at somebody else's house every night before she got married to Eric. And now Eric is feel comfortable. And again, she seems to me that she likes to have a comfortable space, because that's why she doesn't want to move into his space, because she doesn't have any comfortability. She's not comfortable. She wants to stay in the apartment. She wants to stay in the apartment because it's comfortable to her. She wants to stay with Rocky because it's comfortable to her. She wants to stay with her family because they're comfortable to her. She wants to get, so when she goes outside of her of being comfortable, she gets nervous, and she has to drink to be comfortable. And so therefore she only has friends who are comfortable. We know in there, if Lane and her friends ever get married, their girlfriends or wives ain't gonna let Virginia sleep on the couch. Matter of fact, all that partying that she's going out and doing with Lane them is going to stop. It probably cut off. You know, and she can be upset, like, well, I did that for you guys. And she can be, they can be like, sorry, it ain't happening. And then, again, I like what Stephanie said. It's more like father talking to daughter than husband talking to wife. I mean, and so it's like he's raising his kid, because look at her. She's like, I think he said he was like 1995. She's like, I was 2 or something like that.
Yes, she said she was 2.
And I'm like, that's a big, the experts should be shot, because look at the couples who are terrible. They have big age gaps.
Yeah.
Look at Haley and Jacob and now Virginia and Erica.
Not Erica.
Not Erica. Sometimes he is a diva. He acts like a diva. Don't get it twisted, because he acts like that.
Yeah.
But because he wants his things his way. But again, he never puts his foot down for her. And again, he's never told her his 5 ultimatum things. He gives her ultimatum, but he never followed through. So again, why give an ultimatum if you ain't gonna follow through? So now she's at the point like, man, I don't even believe your ultimatum. So when he really say I'm leaving, she can be looking for him every 15, 20 minutes. You know, again, you can't keep crying wolf, and she's not taking him seriously. So at the end of the day, that's why she still goes out. That's why she still hangs out. That's why she still sleeps on the couch, because he's never been like, you know what, sleep on another couch. I'll show you. Sleep on another couch. I'm gonna show you what. You won't come back in here. You know what I'm saying? One of those type things. We're going to have some issues.
He's not going to lock her out after curfew, is he?
He's going to lock her out after curfew.
Changing locks.
Some of us married and been married. How many times can your spouse stay out on somebody else's couch before you let them do it again?
Not no female. You better not even try to come to the door. No, sir.
So again,
trust me.
Right. And even if I'm out of town, you ain't been at the house yet. Mail piled up.
You know who going. Look,
I mean, come on.
My husband go out of town. I don't like sleeping by myself. You know who gonna sleep in my bed? My kids.
So
she, like you said, she better cuddle up with Rocky and be happy with that.
Right. Or if you're lonely, right, and you stay in your own bed, invite them to the house. Or hang out with your sister-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
Or your,
or her sister.
Jennifer, do something, but you can't go on these binges and think everything's gonna be okay. And then 4 or 5 days when he come home, what you do? Oh man, I can't even remember. It's not happening.
How can I say this real quick too? I thought everybody commenting, not with us, but we see a lot of people commenting, and they be on Eric so hard about him being controlling. And I'm not saying that he's not, but I feel like they be really coming down on Eric. But I mean, like Stephanie said, it's a father talking to a daughter. He's acting fatherly. She sure is acting like that spoiled, rotten teenager. She is acting like that. And I think that's bringing it out of him too. So, he can't help but act like a father when she say silly stuff like that. We too old. The stuff she be talking about, I'm like, come on.
The reason being, she never had a father. And the thing is, she never had nobody talk to her like that. And she had no men in her life. Her parents didn't even come to her senior night. All right. Mm-hmm. They couldn't even get enough sense to have things together to come to senior night. So again, she never had that parental father in her life or somebody who set boundaries and structure in her life. So she feel like, I don't have no boundaries. I have no structure, because guess what? I'm going to go to work every day. I pay my bills. I'm fine. I can drink and do whatever I need to do. I make it home. I sleep on the couch. Again, when you have somebody who has no boundaries and you give him somebody who lives a regimented life, this is a military man. This is a man who lives a regimented life. And so he's on a routine. He's stuck. And you gave him somebody, he said it, she's just like Rocky, all wild and all over the place. He's trying to train her along with Rocky.
I'm going to say one last thing. Tommy just said that Virginia is not ready to love, just so we can throw that out there. She might have been on the wrong TV show, but she's not ready.
Yeah, thank you guys. I feel vindicated. After Thursday night, I got berated, I got bashed, I got broken. The panelists really got on my neck about Eric, and I was like, listen, Virginia's just as bad, religion's just as bad, So thank you guys for coming through and just, putting things in the correct perspective in this world. Thank you very much. But let's talk about last couple, because we've kind of almost gotten time now. Last couple is obviously Hailey and Jacob. Hailey and Jacob were obviously this whole talk about the £800 bracelet. I think someone posted a picture on Reddit, and it wasn't £800. It was actually 99, but hey, that could be debatable. But that's not important. What's important is the fact that obviously this gift was not received in the way it should have been. He feels hurt. He feels slighted. It feels like we're doing this kind of cycle all the time with Hailey and Jacob. That he seems to always be in a place where his feelings are being dismissed and hurt by Hailey. But what I would say, one thing is I'm going to say is he needs to get rid of them shoe. Okay, it's not everywhere the shoe goes to. I'm sorry, it cannot be like the ladies tried to defend him on Thursday night. I was like, no, you cannot go everywhere with a shoe and jeans. It's just not acceptable. To the point you're now wearing a sexy suit with the jeans and the shoe too. And I said, why? You were doing so well. Top level was looking good, and it went down below. I said it's like a Zoom meeting, bro. You didn't have to do that. Just you're looking good. Complete the look. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that I was a bit, But other than that, I definitely am on Hailey's neck too. But I just thought to myself that needs to change just a little bit. Talisa, what are you saying? What are you saying, Talisa? Talk to me, man. Hailey and Jacob.
So listen, I'm okay with Jacob wearing his little dress shoes. Like, I'm literally okay with it. Maybe he just needs some with the rubber soles at the bottom. Like, they got him. They got boat shoes. Don't take your glasses off on me. Don't take your glasses off on me. But I'm okay with it. Like, that is his aesthetic, right? I think that if we don't like it, for example, when she brought it up at the batting cage, it always feels like, to me, like she's belittling him, like she's sitting high and she's looking low. Like it always feels like she's judging him because, of course, I was just talking to a girlfriend today, and what we were talking about, dating and stuff, and I said that I'm not a fan of somebody, and I am a little more direct with them. And what we said was that it's because I don't like him, right? It's because I'm not attracted to him like I might be someone else. And because I'm not attracted to him, I'm more direct. I'm probably a little more curt. I try and find ways to be kind because I don't want to be shallow because there's great qualities. But when I think about them 5 non-negotiables, I'm gonna just stop dealing with him. So you know, and so I thought about that. She just doesn't like him. In addition, though, like she's self-centered. She is selfish, like she is dismissive. So on top of all of those other things, you can be kind to someone that you don't like. You know what I mean? You can be kind if he doesn't tick your boxes. Like, baby, let me tell you, when them jean shorts came out and we saw him with them little Daisy Dukes and his thighs out, I said, it's a big no for me. Like, my man is not going to be wearing that. I mean, your man shouldn't be wearing that. And I'm going to say, no, you need to wear something that's going to cover your thighs. Like, that's not appropriate for a grown man. Okay. Like, no, Jacob. But then we got to that whole bracelet thing. And that's really where you got to see Haley's character. Like, you really saw who she was. And you actually saw that she get it from her mama. Like, you really saw that. Like, it is who they are. Number one, why did your mother take the bracelet way to Alabama? So I get that the room was disheveled. You couldn't put it in my little bag that I brought with me that is locked in the room in my little purse. That was a gift that he gave to me. And I have not met you as my husband yet. So I should be like, oh, he thought about me. Whether I thought it was a bracelet or a necklace, he gave me a great gift versus my Alabama college alma mater hat or whatever that they got, whatever she got. And I get that it's the thought behind it, but there was no thought put into that. Like, I don't feel like she didn't defend herself when he said $800 versus $20. She didn't defend like, oh, it's because this is my alma mater or because I love my state or because I wanted you to be I was being inclusive so you could be part of who I am. Like, she didn't give any of that. That was a last minute, last thought gift. So, and just the fact that, like, listening to her mom say, well, if somebody gives you a gift, then it's a gift and he wants it back. I thought to myself, so mom, you're not going to say to her, why do I understand that he wants to see his gift. He's not even asking you to wear, like, you're not asking questions to help your daughter be a better person. Your daughter is normally you. Like, you think about it. I think about me and my mother. Like, I am the spitting replica of her in the way she talks, in her thought process. You know, I'm probably a 2.0 version because I work on mine, right? On the stuff that's not so great, but I'm my mother. And so looking at them, I thought she's done her daughter a disservice her whole life. And that's why she's by herself. That's why she can't have a healthy relationship. Now, on the flip side, I'm so team Jacob. I'm team Jacob, even though they're not going to work out. I think Jacob is quirky and he's being himself, even though he doesn't really communicate well. Like, it's a lot of things that he doesn't do, but I think that he's being his true self. Right. And so this is who I am. This is who you're going to get. I thought about, like, the letters, right? She made it seem like, you know, that's it. You know, when it came to, like, his letter was just as bad as what's his face, Ryan, because it was short and like what are we doing? But it was the way that she said, you don't have anything else to say. Like, that's it. You don't want to expound. And listening to her letter, all I keep thinking is you're stuck on that relationship from when you were 15 years old. And baby, you need to get some serious therapy about that because you are 20 plus years old. I don't know what, 28. And that's still on the forefront of your mind from 15. You have not had a healthy relationship. So even if there was a possibility for you guys to grow, which we know that there's not, you've got too many issues that you need to work out. You in Virginia need to go and take Clara with you. And you know what? Brianna can use some help to go and get you guys some group therapy and support one another because y'all got stuff to work on, right? Get y'all some journaling prompts, be intentional. You know what I mean? Like, write down some scripture, see how, like, listen, support each other in that manner, because for me, everybody needs to just go ahead and say no and cut their losses. But that's just me. So just so that we're clear, I think that Haley is self-centered. I think that she is dismissive when it comes to him, that she has no empathy. She's inconsiderate. Like, I got a whole list of things that I don't like. I don't even think that she's that attractive. So there's that. I can't find one thing that not even the way she dresses, I don't like. So I'm team Jacob, and that's probably just why. Like, the end.
Strong components. Love that. Thank you, Talisa. Strong. Stephanie, talk to us. Team Jacob, Team Haley, neither. What are you saying?
Neither. They are like watching them every week is like beating a dead horse. How are we gonna kill this dead horse today? It is exhausting. They both suck to me. I mean, Jacob is nice, but for me, he's nothing to phone home about. I think because Haley she has such a mean girl spirit that we see Jacob and we're like, he doesn't deserve. Now, I don't think he deserves Haley. But I just don't think that there's no razzle dazzle with Jacob for me either. I think that we saw Haley's inability to just give a damn. Like she just couldn't for just 1 second say, you know what? I'm sorry. Like she's not going to say that because she doesn't care about him. So that's why every week I'm watching it like, why are we watching these two? Because I mean, Chris and Paige, Haley and Jacob, Claire and Ryan all need to get back on that little white van out of our lives because I am tired of seeing them. They're not matched well either. There's that huge age gap. They're not equally yoked in anything really. Haley's gonna have issues with anyone that she comes across. It's not just Jake. Jake represents like a lot of things that she's not into, but it also holds a mirror to the fact that her inability to really connect and get over herself and push herself to be uncomfortable and just like be a person. When she tries, it feels very phony. It's not like she's just having a good time and like, I don't really like him, but I'm going to enjoy him as a person. We know she told her mom a very one-sided story about that bracelet, which is why her mother responded that way. So I thought that was really petty. On the flip side, so where she was like really wrong this week is she just has no ability to apologize and recognize where she's wrong, which is a very significant characteristic needed for marriage, a successful one. Jacob, however, I thought it was tacky to mention the amount because you didn't know her when you bought it. She didn't ask you to buy it. She should have honored you and, acknowledging it or acknowledging your feelings or having it or whatnot. But throwing it out there and saying you didn't buy me something as expensive, like I feel like it started to get really petty. And I also think that although we're saying Jacob's complaining because she didn't even bring it, we've seen Jacob harp on a situation over and over this season. I feel like if she would have brought it, the next issue would have been, well, you're not wearing it. You've never once worn it. You've never because his history is telling me that that's what he likes to do because he brings stuff up over and over and over. They both need to cut their losses. Like, I think it's so clear that we're watching them because they're contractually obligated, but they both have issues. I feel like Jacob is just the lesser of two evils. Not that either one is evil, but just for the sake of that line, he's just the less of that. But I think by himself, he's kind of like, he's nice, but that's it. That's why everything is a thing. His shoes and his, dress in the 80s. It's like if he had maybe more of an engaging personality, if their entanglement during the honeymoon would have been satisfactory at best, I wouldn't be looking at shoes if I had a good entanglement. You know what I'm saying? I would be like, I'll give him a pass because we can buy shoes, but he laid it down. There's a lot that just did not work for him. So I don't know. It's tough to watch them because I don't care for Haley. I have more of a soft spot for Jake, but it's just like, how many times do we have to watch these people who are so obviously wrong for each other sit together? Like the way that they're sitting and waiting for Dr. Pepper to come and they were just sitting there and looking like at air, but not talking to each other. That's how I watch their scenes. So that's a live visual of me watching them. So that's it. That's my 2 cents for them.
Thank you very much, Steph. August love. It's mad, Jacob. I just want to say for the random there, listen, you got one chance and Jacob had one chance and he didn't lay it down. It's just that serious. It's just like that. You know what I mean? You get one chance You got to lay it down correct. Look where he is now. Oh, good stuff. Go for it.
No, you go ahead.
Okay. Man, that was messed up what Haley did at the end, man. That, like, she obviously knew, like, by then knew that bothered Jacob a lot. It's like, you haven't even, like, it's not even in the same state. And for her to go back to her mom and be like, just send it to me. And her mom, to do what her mom did is so like, it's green. She is so green for that. She's green in a junk. Right. But it's like, you don't want people around you in your relationship or to help with your relationship that's gonna say that. We all know that Haley was wrong for what she did. She's like, she is nitpicking at him. Like, her unanswered question was, why did you wear that to the baseball outing? Because that's what I wore. Point blank, period. It is what it is. You see my other clothes and you said you like me in these clothes, so I changed it up. This is what I wear now. And I like boots and jeans. So get with it or get away from it. So it's like, you know, like, that would have been the least of my concern, you know? Like, I wouldn't have, like, if I had one question to ask, I never would have asked that question. You know, so it's I was, at one point I was like, Haley's trying, but then, you know, we obviously see that Haley's not trying. And then I really don't have a lot to say about Jacob except him harping on one issue. You know, we know that the bracelet, well, it was a bracelet, right? Mm-hmm. We know that the bracelet bothered him to the point to where he just kept bringing it up, and then returned the hat. I would have kept the hat just because it's like, for me, it's like, I give you something, I don't expect it back. You know what I'm saying? It's I gave you this, but then for him, I understand where he's coming from. At least acknowledge it, because I spent my money on it, and you know, I could have bought something else. You know, that's the way I look at things when I buy stuff. I could have bought something else. You know, so I just feel bad for Jacob. I honestly don't think they was matched really well. At one point, I thought he was gonna go a different way, but then it's like, it would have been nice if it would went a different way. But then we realized that it's no hope. Hopefully, they say no to each other and we can move on with the next episode or next season.
We absolutely know they're gonna say no to each other. So my biggest issue with Haley and marriage, not necessarily her marriage to Jacob, but marriage in general, is she has said time and time again, if I don't want to do something, then I'm not going to do it. That is an absolute problem. That is not what you are able to do in a marriage. There are going to be tons of things in life, not just in marriage, that you do not want to do, and you're going to have to do them. And it's not to say that you should degrade yourself, but at least compromise. But she was expecting him to make all of the compromises in the relationship. She wanted to change the way that he dressed. She wanted to criticize the shoes that he wore. Like, there was a laundry list of things that she wanted to change about him, but she was perfect. I can't get with that with her. She definitely had a mean girl spirit, especially when she was talking to her mom. The one-sided conversation that she gave back was, he wants his things back. That's not necessarily what he said. He was like, hey, I would have liked for you to have worn what I gave you, or at least have it as an option to wear what I gave you. I look at it like, I told you guys I worked retail for a while. I actually sold jewelry. So I was no stranger to seeing people come in and buy $800 necklaces or bracelets and necklaces all the time. So with that being said, I hope that he bought it from a larger chain store and there was a 90-day return policy and he was able to get his money back. Because most of them did have those type of return policies. Because at this point, it's just a loss in his life. And he should at least be able to cut the loss. He can't cut the loss of having a divorce, but he should at least be able to cut the financial loss of the $800, because Haley just doesn't respect that. And she wanted to make it something different from what it was. We do agree he harps on things, but she does too. Like, she's no different from him. Like, her personality is not that great. She's not giving anything, but she wanted him to change everything. And that just really bothered me. about their entire interaction. And I did have hope probably like 6 episodes ago that they would at least walk out of this and be able to be friends. But I don't even think they can be friendly, let alone be friends. Like, I was like, oh, well, maybe they'll be able to go to Prague together, since that's one place that's, you know, on his list and she's willing to go back places. But at this point, I don't think there's anything that's going to bring them together outside of sitting down and signing divorce papers, if they even have to do that in the same room, because I don't know how that works either. But that's all I've got. Sorry, Tommy and the child have left.
Okay. So, Haley/Karen. Yeah, I was like, that conversation with her mom, I was disgusted. I'm like, you know, like Stephanie said, you could obviously tell that she had given her mom a one-sided conversation about this bracelet. Yeah, he brought the bracelet up again. Automatically, her mom knew what she was talking about. He talking about that again. And I could just hear, if she was a black mama, she would have been like, he want his little funky bracelet back. I'm going to send his little funky bracelet back. And Jacob didn't say he wanted the bracelet back. He just said, why don't you have it? You could, with all her stuff, you could have gathered it up and put it together. Or somebody else said, this is what he gave you before he knew who you were. You could have put it on. You could have put it on. She didn't have any reason not to put it on before the wedding because she didn't know who he was. It would have been nice to say, so he could say, oh, you got the bracelet on. I bought you. You got it. The other thing, I don't know. I thought about this. Somebody said in the comments, I don't know what Jacob's finances look like. That $800 might have been a whole lot for him. And he's like, you know, I put a lot of money into this. This ain't nothing to, you know, bat your nose at. I'm just saying, it's not nothing to bat your nose at that I spent $800 on it. I thought she was petty. All right. My dad, the only pair of tennis shoes he ever had, we bought him for Father's Day. That's the kind of guy my dad was. He wore dress shoes. You know what I mean? He was a pastor. He's a chaplain. He was a teacher. If he got a call in the middle of the night to go to the hospital, he's going to put on his long or short sleeve button-up shirt. He's going to put on his khaki pants, and he's going to put on his dress shoes. Leave that man alone. For him, the dress shoes are comfortable. When they put the camera on him, I see why they was comfortable. He had a whole lot of them shoes were worn out. He has got his money's worth out of those shoes. They are comfortable. My toes are on the ground. They're comfortable. Haley, you stop that.
They're molded to his feet.
they're molded to his feet. But and we didn't see them in this episode, but I see Haley and Jacob are like a milder Chris and Paige. To me, they're like a milder Chris and Paige. She's not into him at all. She's nasty. She's just not as nasty and as blatant as Chris is. Like, you know, Chris is terrible. But, you know, Haley, the conversation with her mom let us know she's terrible. If we didn't know before. I throw her away. I don't, but I'm not like that. I'm like Talisa. I kind of like Jacob, but I definitely do not like Haley.
I'm like Stephanie a little bit. Neither one of them do for me, but at the same time, because he's petty. I mean, he's been petty. Again, Jacob is all in. When they told him he was going to be on Married at First Sight, he said, I'm all in. This is my last chance. So let me go buy an $800 bracelet. Let me send him some jewelry. Let me do all the things that I may never, ever get a chance to do again. So he's all in. And so when he went all in and him going all in didn't work, he felt some type of way. And so now he turned into Mr. Petty because all in didn't work. And so she wasn't feeling him. My issue with the shoes, I got some comfortable shoes I like to wear all the time. You know, they feel comfortable. They're good. Now, I will have an issue if they went to the beach and he had that on.
Right.
If he went to I need her to take him to the beach and then see if he have his boots on. Because I have hidden golf balls in some dress shoes because what I do for a living. So in the middle of the day, I might go hit some golf balls. I got dress shoes. I ain't changing shoes. I have been hitting baseballs in some shoes. Just I'm an athlete. But again, she just wanted something to harp on with the bracelet situation. It's like, She could have put it in a carry-on. She could have slipped it in her makeup bag. It's not like it was a big boom box. She could have slipped. First of all, I'm mad at whoever packed up her room. y'all been married. Whoever packed up her room, her bridesmaids. Oh, because you're doing your wedding thing. Your bridesmaid's going to take care of you. Somebody in her bridal party should have enough sense. Oh, this is a nice necklace. Let me slip this in her bag. Bracelet. Sorry. Nice, but let me slip this in her bag. She might want to wear this on the honeymoon. But for her to even know that it went to her mom back in Alabama, that means you saw it before you left. And you decided not to take this man's bracelet because after you saw him, you like, you know what? I'm not even dealing with him or his bracelet. I don't even want this. So I'm just going to send that stuff back down there. Let's be honest. That's who she was. She wasn't feeling him. As soon as he walked down the aisle, she wasn't feeling him. And so she didn't want the bracelet. And then for her mom not to send it back after she brought the issue up, first of all, mom should want the marriage to work. So she knows there's tension in her daughter's marriage. So if it's tension in your marriage, let me send you this bracelet so you don't have any tension anymore.
So he ain't got nothing else to talk about.
Matter of fact, let me call Jake. So Jake, I apologize. I took the bracelet, but you don't worry about it. I'm going to send the bracelet back and she'll have it. Done deal. Mm-hmm. All right? Whether she put on or not. If she's trying to make this marriage work, trying to make this marriage work, she would have got the bracelet back early and kind of, smooth things out with Jacob. Kojo, next time you're in trouble, just send the back signal. And, the task force will be there to help you out, bro. All right?
I want to say this real quick, but because you called Jacob petty. When I saw that scene, I felt like Haley was petty because, people argue like that sometimes. Okay, so you bring something up and they say, well, you don't have my $20 hat that I gave you. Where's the hat I gave you? She had to come back. I'm like, girl, ain't nobody worried about your little funky hat. That's a $20 hat. He don't even like Alabama. Okay, he likes somebody else. He's not into football.
You talking about pettiest? The pettiest thing was her going to the batting cage early just so she can win.
Oh yeah,
that's petty.
Yeah.
So anyway, don't.
It is what it is.
Oh, really?
It is what it is. Well, guys, we've reached the end, so I'm gonna get you guys to give your 1 minute summations. Just a quick 1 minute summation, and then we'll head out. I know we've kind of gone over the time. I do apologize, guys. Yes, Jack and Glenn, you go first. Give us your 1 minute summations, and then.
Hey, once again, enjoy this great conversation. Don't mind the time. I enjoy the conversation with each and every one of you guys and the thoughts that we put in tonight with the issue. Hey, just make sure you hit the subscribe button here. Make sure you hit the thumbs up here, and then go over to all our other pages. Hit the thumbs up and the like button, subscribe, the bell notification. Once again, thanks for watching us. Man, it's been fun. It is fun. It's always fun. I look forward to these moments each and every week to have great conversation with some great people. So, and the chat box is just jumping. Appreciate you guys in the chat box as well. So, hey, it's great.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Jack and Glenn.
What he said.
Appreciate that. August Love, give us your 1 minute summations. Thank you.
You can follow us all over social media at August Love Story. Like, we've been having a blast with this panel. This has been the better part of this season of Married at First Sight, is at least spending time with each other, because the season itself, as Stephanie put it, has been exhausting. We are going to be trying to figure out something else that we can do together at some point soon. So hopefully you guys will subscribe to all of our channels and look out for that, because we've all been kind of in this small discussions about things that we can do in the future together. So at some point it will come into fruition and you'll see us together in some capacity again. But definitely check out everybody's channels here. Everybody does great things online, and like, I get the notifications all the time, and we just cast things to the TV. So in my household, my kid thinks that you guys live here sometimes, because I just have everything cast to the TV. So definitely it's fun to do this, and just check us all out online.
Appreciate it. Stephanie.
I got off the road from a little weekend away with our family and got right here. So I'm physically exhausted, but not more exhausted than I am of this season. So.
I knew when she went, she's broken.
Listen, the best thing about this season is you all, honestly, because it offers the opportunity to connect with other reviewers and other content creators, and we've been able to create the dialogue. And no matter how tired I know we all are, this is always, it feels like family now. It's like, oh, I know you guys, I recognize you guys. And it's interesting to see what we have to say. And the comments are always super flooded, and they're so supportive, and they love watching this, which is like, I mean, I think that's indicative of how great we are together. So I love that. We can't really base it off the season, because the season wasn't great. So, so thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to follow us on all of our social media stuff and our websites, and we will see you guys next week.
Appreciate it.
My husband says hi, guys. He'll be on
husband.
next time.
Appreciate him. Talisa, go for it.
I am going to say that I was thinking, as everyone was talking, I was thinking, before I get all mushy, I was thinking that maybe possibly these people were chosen so poorly because of quarantina, right? They maybe didn't have a lot of options, right? I think I might have said that maybe when we first started. That's just no excuse, though. Like, you have people's lives in your hands. And I feel like all these people just should say, quit, including Brianna and Vincent. And, you know, if you like each other, then just date and see if it can continue. But with that being said, I too enjoy, this is probably my favorite part of the week. I hate when I miss it because of my time, or because I lost track of time, or I had other plans. I enjoy each and every one of you. My favorite part, of course, is to see all this Black, beautiful melanin popping, having the conversations with like well thought out concepts, and are rational, and people get to see like what marriage looks like, and really how, you know, how it is. Like, you get to actually see that there are happily successful marriages that do have issues and can work through them. And so that's probably one of my favorite things, because we don't get to see that enough. Like everybody said, I know that everybody who's in here, because I'm looking at your names, like, right, I see you and everybody's comments, but just in case, while you're subscribing and notifying and doing like likes and all of that, tell your friends we lit. We lit over here, and we lit on our own channels. Bring them over. Stop being selfish and share us with your people. Like, what are you doing?
Come on now. Guys, it's been powerful. It's been amazing, isn't it? US Task Force doing the job as always. Big shout out to you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. I know the time went a bit over today, but I really do appreciate you guys and your thoughts and your time as well. Show's almost over, so we've got one more. I think I've got 2 more weeks left, and we're done. And then I think Undateables is also going at the same time as well, or whatever is going at the same time as well. We'll check that out and see how that goes. But audience members, thank you so much. You lot have been crazy in the chat. I've been joining. You lot have been on a mad thing. Love it. Make sure, as they said, you subscribe and like their channels as well. It really helps us all grow together as well. And again, join us on, I think it's Tuesday night. I think it is. I'll give you guys a head up. We didn't do our Ready to Love on Saturday, so we'll be doing that, I think, on Tuesday. So we'll be going live for you guys to come and give your thoughts on the last episode as well. Guys, it's been good. Stay hydrated. We appreciate you. Stay locked and stay loaded. We'll see you again next week. Bye bye.